time to check out your neighbors on the Good Neighbor Podcast, where we bring good vibes, great neighbors, and local businesses in Southwest Florida together. Here's your host, Cabo Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors, to episode number 256 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have good neighbor Jacki Liszak from the Fort Myers Beach Chamber. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to get to know people in the community and share their stories with our listeners. So I know I know Fort Myers Beach in general has been through a lot lately, but why don't you explain a little bit about what the Chamber is doing currently?
So I am the president and CEO of the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm going on my, I think, 9th year now in the chamber position. And every year has been interesting and engaging and eye-opening and all of these things plus more as I've gone along my chamber journey here. Of course, coming in, starting with red tide and quickly morphing into Hurricane Irma. And then we had our lovely friend, the COVID, visit us for a couple of years. And then our bad neighbor, the H word that's started with an I, which I won't say either one of them. And of course, then coming out of that and all of the challenges that a community on the rebuild is facing, the Chamber has been there every step of the way to support the businesses, of course, as is the Chamber's mission, but also to encourage and promote our tourists, our guests that come, whether they come for a day or come for half a season. And then, of course, our residents on the island, which are critical. And some of those visitors and guests who are seasonal, we also call them snowbird residents. So the Chamber's goal really is just to promote the community, protect the community, engage and educate the community, and kind of be a hub for all things Fort Myers Beach.
Absolutely. So let's back up your story a little bit. You've been in it for 9 years. How did you get involved in it to start with?
I jokingly say I was hoodwinked. So Bud Nocera, if you're out there, this is all your fault. I had come home from my last contract and the town was going to cancel the fireworks, and I stepped forward to help fundraise to save those just as a private citizen. And through that effort, I got to meet some of our amazing residents and business owners. And one of those people was Bud Nocera, who was the then chamber president. And he stepped up to try to help us save the fireworks for the beach, which we accomplished. We fundraised enough to get us I think it was our 4th of July fireworks that year that were in jeopardy. And through that process, unbeknownst to me, Bud was looking to retire. And so he got me at a weak moment one day and said, "Hey, what do you think about being the chamber president?" And I was like, what is that? I don't know. I never knew what that was, but we belong to the chamber with my company Sea Gypsy here, but I had never even crossed my mind. And so went home, talked with my family about it, and decided to go ahead and take a chance at this kind of a completely different business line, a completely different professional road. So, the fork in the road opened up and I went to the one way. So, and it's been an absolute pleasure and a joy. A few moments of heartache, but way, way overshadowed by the amount of amazing things that have happened in the last 8 to 9 years.
Absolutely. It's been 9 years. You must be doing something right. So congrats to you on that.
Let's be honest.
Let's talk about some of those challenges. Obviously, we know the obvious things, but you've been through a lot in 9 years. What kind of challenges are you facing currently?
Well, one of the things that really stands out to me and will for the rest of my life is my education and now my passion for clean water and environmental stewardship of the waters that surround our island and the bay and water everywhere, really. But I have had a crash course in the Caloosahatchee River, the Everglades, our national estuary that's behind us, the Gulf waters in front of us, red tide, blue-green algae, and all kinds of things that make up what are our waters around the island. And to me, that is our biggest challenge going forward. Yes, the rebuild is important. Yes, it's going to take a while for our community to come back economically and vitally, and we have a lot of growing pains with that happening now. But really the cornerstone of all of this is our water. And without our clean water, we can all stop the discussion, because people are not going to come here if our water is ugly or if our water is unhealthy. And it's something I think that we've kind of pushed to the back burner because of these other obviously important things that are in front of us right now. But I want to kind of ring that bell and remind folks that the effort to restore the Everglades, to keep the Caloosahatchee water not only clean, but also coming toward us in the proper quantities of salt and fresh, and to do things that affect us on the island here and affect our stormwater runoff and what we put on our yards, things like that. We have to ring that bell and remind folks that this is a big part of the reason why we all came here, right? We came over that bridge and you saw that view that everybody argues about. Yeah. And what's in the view? The water. So, our water's been stellar the last, 6 months. We've also been very, very dry. So we don't have all that water coming down the Caloosahatchee. And that's, when it's, a lot of it has to be there, the tannins, and obviously, some of the runoff, whatever. But that's had a huge effect on why our water is really Caribbean blues and greens right now.
Yeah, and kudos to you guys and everybody involved with that as well, too. I was at the beach this weekend, and, for the first time in many times going there years, I could actually waist high water. I could still see my feet in the water. I was like, this is the cleanest it's been in a long time, which, I love, and that's why we love it here.
I love it too. And some of the factor obviously has been that we just have not had a lot of rain, because that puts a lot of the fresh water coming down. But, there are things that are happening in the Everglades, that are happening in the Caloosahatchee River, in our reservoirs that are built and still being built. And there are things that are happening that we need to be mindful of, legislative wise and otherwise, that could affect what happens to our water. We also continue to do water monitoring. The Chamber has a foundation, a 501c3 arm, that is our nonprofit foundation. It's called the Fort Myers Beach Chamber Water Foundation. Its sole purpose is to study, educate, and support the water, clean water around Estero Island. So we are going to be doing a ribbon cutting on a water monitoring station that we just had built at the Mound House. So that's coming up on the 16th of June. So kind of one of the initiatives we have going on.
I love it, and still a lot, the water is nice now, but we need to make sure it stays nice and stays clear. And, we're doing the right things to protect it in the future as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's kind of a strange question, but are there any maybe myths or misconceptions surrounding what the Chamber do that we could maybe clear up for our listeners?
Yeah. So there's a big one, actually. They think we're a part of the town of Fort Myers Beach. We are not. We are not a government entity. We are a nonprofit. It's a 501c6 trade organization. Typically, chambers of commerce support businesses, inland, like the Fort Myers Chamber and Estero Chamber. They support a lot of business activity, business initiatives. We are a little different out here ourselves. Sandcap Chamber, Pine Island Chamber, a little bit different because we're so heavy tourism. So we not only support the business, but we also do a lot of tourism-related information, visitor-driven information, visitor information, as well as, I believe strongly, that the Chamber also serves the residents of the community. So we engage our residents fairly heavily. And then we're an unusual chamber in that we're fairly event-heavy. We do a lot of events throughout the year, way less than when I first took over because of lots of reasons. But we still do quite a few events, like the American Sand Sculpting Championship. That is the Chamber's event. But I think a lot of folks think the Chamber, in some counties and in some towns, the Chamber is tied to the government. They are funded by them, or they are actually a part of the government that's regulating or ruling the town or county. In our case, and actually in Lee County, none of the chambers are part of any of the local governments.
Very nice. Important information and good to know as well. So, do you notice anything trending? I mean, obviously there's a lot changing in Fort Myers Beach, but do you notice trends?
Yeah. So one of the interesting trends that we're all talking about is how quiet it is right now. This reminds me of more like when I took over the chamber originally, maybe, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. when we came out of season, we went way down, like somebody turned a faucet off, like the water just stopped. And we are very, very slow if you compare us to even COVID years with our residents or with our visitors on the island right now. It's incredibly quiet. So I think one of the trends that I'm seeing is that booking windows are much, much shorter. When you go to book for a hotel, it used to be people would book out 2 weeks to a month to 6 months out. They're booking days out, weeks out, a couple weeks out. That's it. So a lot of last minute travel we're seeing. We're seeing a decrease, downward pressure on our nightly rates on the island. So actually, for those of you that are within drive distance, man, you can get some great deals out on the beach right now if you want to come out for a staycation. And, some of our downtown is still a little busy. Margaritaville keeps things hopping down there, which is great. But even some great deals going on at all of these resorts and at the vacation rentals. So highly encourage our friends inland. You want to get out for a weekend. It's all summer long. It's going to be a beautiful time to come out and have a nice staycation. So that's one of the trends we're noticing. Travel has definitely changed.
Absolutely. And who doesn't want to be at the beach? So local people get out there and head to the beach while it's quiet,
Yeah, it's quiet, which is great. You can get into the bars and restaurants. There's not a line. We've got some lovely summer specials going on. Everybody's doing half price pizza on Monday night at the Junkanoo. And then they have prime rib Saturday at Salty Sam's at Parrot Key. So there's all of these great specials going on right now.
Absolutely. Head to the beach for sure. So your story, are you from Southwest Florida originally?
So not originally. I'm from Ohio, east of Cleveland, but I was homeschooled on the island as a kid through the 70s and 80s. My folks would come down for the winter, like November to end of January. And so I basically was brought up on the island, but I'm not a true beach kid because I did not go to the beach school. So I don't really count if you're counting on beach kids. But, I've been down here, obviously, since then, have seen all the changes, brought my husband, before he was my husband here, my husband, walked the beach pregnant with both of my boys, had toddlers on the beach, had little boys running on the beach, had young adolescent boys running on the beach. And I'm proud to say that one of my boys has come back to live here full time, and both of the boys consider this their home. So
nice, very nice.
Hopefully next generation will, continue to get them to honor that tradition.
That's it. I'm the same way. I came from Wisconsin. I blame my parents for not being born down here, but it got down here as quickly as I could. So
same. I should have probably gone to the beach school. I don't know why they didn't just toss me into school, but it was a different time then. You just, your parents pulled you out and you caught up when you got home. That's kind of how it was then.
Absolutely. So I know your job can be very demanding, but we live in paradise. So what do you do when you get a moment of time to yourself?
Well, yesterday I spent a glorious day on the boat. So that's, out on the water, it doesn't get any better than that. And, get my toes in the sand and look for some seashells and, go look for dolphins and wildlife and just kind of enjoy the sunset and the sunrise that we have. They're both incredible on our island.
Absolutely. It's about enjoying the finer things in life at the beach. And when I go, I start in the morning and I don't leave until that sunset. So I'm there all day.
I understand. Sometimes a little bit of a sunburn too, if you miss a spot or two on you with sunscreen.
You won't notice it until you get home, but you'll notice it for sure.
Right.
So is there one thing you wish our listeners knew about the Fort Myers Beach Chamber that maybe they wouldn't be too aware of?
Gosh, I think that, we're here to help. That's the biggest thing I want folks to know. If you have an issue with something, if you can't find something, you need help with something, if we can't handle it or don't know the answer right away, we certainly know enough people that we can go help find the answer for you. We do all kinds of stuff that nobody ever understands or sees. Even this morning, we had an email come across our desk. It was sent by accident, but we found out that someone was potentially being scammed on the island. So we were able to get a hold of that person, step in and help them from not being scammed by some fraudster. So kind of strange stuff like that happens all the time, but we are happy to be a point of reference, someone who's trusted, who you can come to if you need a service or you need to find somebody. Or a lot of times we have guests call us who are coming in and they've booked through maybe an Airbnb platform or something like that, and they just want to make sure it's a real house that's really a rental house or something. So we'll go as far as to drive by the house or call the owner ourselves and just make sure that it's legit. We do all kinds of stuff like that. We support the town with things that they're working on. We support the county with things they're working on. We do a lot of fam trips. The county calls us and they have groups coming in and need a guide to take them around. So I'll take them around, or one of the folks on the team here will take them around. We provide guest packages for weddings that are coming in town, or trade groups that are coming in. We'll put goodie bags together for them and welcome them. If we have a new homeowner, we're happy to share references and stuff like that. I got called today by a company that makes living seawalls. So we're going to connect them up with the town and with our environmental team and with our the folks that control all of the waterway stuff here in Fort Myers Beach, and connect them up to make them aware of this new technology, 3D printed concrete seawalls that sea life can grow on instead of just a flat surface or vinyl. So it's a great opportunity as we're rebuilding, right? People need to replace their seawalls. These seawalls attract marine life. The marine life filter the water and help to keep it clean. It's this really great all around win for us. So we'll make sure that we make those connections with the town and pass that off to them. So those kind of things we do. And I think so much of what we do is behind the scenes. Folks never, and a lot of it, truthfully, we don't, we do that on purpose. We don't need to be ringing the bell all the time. So let's make others shine, because that's what makes a great community.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing all you do. Your trusted resource for everything Fort Myers Beach. I love it. How would the listeners go about contacting you if they had questions or wanted to just learn more about the area?
Yeah. So, and don't forget too, we're always looking for volunteers for things like sand sculpting and all of that, or our other nonprofit partners that we work closely with also need volunteers, like the Rock the Arches. They just emailed me this morning. They may need some volunteers for their event coming up. So feel free to reach out to the chamber. You can call us at the 239-454-7500, or you can email any one of us, info@fmbchamber, F for Fort, M for Myers, B for Beach. So the letters fmbchamber.com. Or you can pop by. We're at 100 Lovers Lane in the building on the 3rd floor here, right to next to where the Red Coconut and the Wells Fargo used to be, between the two. Or you can pop by our Visitor Information Center, the Roxy, that's out on Times Square. And by the way, we're always looking for volunteers to help man that. So if you have a little free time, you want to go out and greet guests and share the good news about Fort Myers Beach and all the great things that are happening here, we're always looking for volunteers out there too. Any of those ways, but come on by, stop in. We'd love to see you.
Perfect. Jacki, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for being such a good neighbor, and we'll see you at the beach.
And thank you, Cabo Jim. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, bringing together good vibes, great neighbors, local businesses in Southwest Florida. To nominate your favorite local business to be featured on the show, go to CaboWaboGym.com. That's CaboWaboGym.com, or call 239-427-4100.